Now sometimes it gets a little more complicated because we don't always just have one basic unit like inches or feet or centimeters. Sometimes we have more complex units, for example, like miles per hour. Let's say we have 45.0 miles per hour. And I would like to know, how many meters per second is that? Well, we need some conversion factors. And we get those by looking at the equalities between units of measurement. So, for miles, I want to go from miles to meters. So I'm going to tell you, and you'll have to look these up until you memorize them, but I'm going to tell you that there are 1,610 meters for 1 mile. We're also going to have to go from hours to seconds. And I'm going to tell you that there are 3,600 seconds. 3,600 seconds equals 1 hour. With these two equalities, I can make unit conversion factors. So, what I'm going to do first is get rid of the miles and get meters. Now, should I put miles on top of my conversion factor or on the bottom? Well, the miles is on the top here, and I'm trying to get rid of it by factoring it out. So I'm going to divide the miles on top by miles on the bottom. So I write this equality as a conversion factor, and I put the meters on the top. That's also what I'm looking for, so that's a good sign. So I have taken care of the miles, and I've gotten meters. But we don't stop here. Never stop here. Just keep going. Multiply by a new conversion factor, but this time it gets rid of the hours and gives me seconds. So should I have seconds on the top or on the bottom? Well, I'm trying to get rid of hours and replace it with seconds. So I better put the hours on the top and the seconds on the bottom. And the equality says that this is my conversion factor. 1 hour on top, 3,600 seconds on the bottom. And let me ask you, can you do that in your head? No, and me neither. The rule is this though. Multiply everything on the top, divide everything on the bottom. Don't worry about parentheses or anything else. Just go this times this divided by that, because the ones we can ignore. So I'm going to do it. 45.0 times 1610 divided by 3,600. And what I have is 20.1. What? 20.1 what? Well, I'll tell you. The hours are gone. I'm left with meters and seconds. So it's going to be meters per second. And that's how it's done. It's not well, it is rocket science, I should say, but it's very simple rocket science. It's necessary to build a rocket to be able to do this. But it's really not too complicated. All you have to do is write down the thing they give you, find a conversion factor, write it in the correct direction so that you're getting rid of the unit you want to get rid of and getting the unit you want, and then multiplying anything on the top, dividing anything on the bottom. Now there's one more step to this that I'd like to show you an example of because it's confusing to people. I'm not sure why, but let me show you. It's when you're converting like areas or volumes, so like square centimeters to square inches. Let's try a square centimeter to a square inch. That's an area to an area. So let's say I have 35.08 square centimeters, an area. And I want to know how many square inches is that? Well, the trick is this. Go ahead and use the conversion factor that you already know between inches and centimeters. So, and I'm trying to get rid of centimeters, so 1 inch on top, 2.54 centimeters on the bottom. But don't stop, because it's square centimeters. So what you do is you square the conversion factor. Now, when you square a conversion factor, it really does this. 1 squared, inch squared, 2.54 squared, and centimeters squared. What's that doing? That's doing, it's giving me a centimeter squared that can factor out, but it's also squaring this 2.54. So don't forget to do that when you put it into your calculator. Now we're ready to go. You know that the 2.54 is squared. You know 1 is squared, which is just 1. Inches is squared, and centimeters is squared. So I'm going to put this into the calculator as 35.08 divided by 2.54 squared. And the answer is 5.44. 5.44 what? Well, the centimeters squared have been canceled out. And we now have inches squared left. And that's the answer. And that's what I was looking for. And it works with cubes. It works with, volumes like cubic feet to cubic centimeters. Let's try a cubed one just for fun. Let's do cubic feet to cubic inches, because you know that conversion factor, 1 inch or 12 inches to 1 foot. So here we go. 5.0 cubic feet. I want cubic inches. I think it's going to be a lot of them. So we go times, well, we know that there's 12 inches to a foot. 12 inch to 1 foot. But we want it cubed because it's cubic foot. That gives me cubic foot on the bottom. It gives me cubic inches on the top. And it also cubes the 12. So let's plop that into our calculator. We've got 5 times 12 cubed. And how do you do a cubed? Well, I either do caret to the 3 or you hit math and I go down to the cube button and it gives it to me 12 cubed and I say equals 8640. As I suspected, it's a big number. A big number of what? Well, cubic feet has canceled out, has factored out cubic feet, and we're left with cubic inches. And that's how it's done. Easy enough, easy as pie.